Hello and welcome to this wee video about Celebrant Training. I'm Celebrant Lindy, and I'm assuming that if you've clicked on the video then you are perhaps thinking of signing up for some Celebrant Training and looking towards celebrancy as a new career or a part-time career, or at least you have some sort of interest in Celebrant Training. Whatever it may be, you are most welcome. And in the video, I thought I would talk about a number of different things. First of all, I'm going to talk about how wonderful a career I have found celebrancy to be. I absolutely love it. And so just to affirm that it can be an absolutely wonderful path to take. But then secondly, I thought I would talk about considerations before you jump into any kind of celebrant training, because there are some considerations to be made. Some people seem to think that you can do a celebrant training course and then the work's just going to come to you, and of course there's no such thing as a free lunch, and you have to make it work. So thought I would talk about that. And then finally, if you are still considering training, then why you should think about coming to train with me. So what's it like to be a celebrant? Well, I absolutely love it. It's by far the best thing that I've ever done in my life, and I have done loads of different things. If you're interested, you can look at my About Me page. That's just got some of the things on there that I've done, but I've done a whole range of things, and this is by far the best. I love it. I love all aspects of it, but mainly meeting people, listening to stories, and then rewriting that story in a way it can be delivered to friends and family to mark this major milestone, whether it be a baby coming into the world, whether it be a wedding ceremony, or whether it be saying goodbye to somebody who's died. It's such a privilege, and I love hearing people's stories. Stories are what make the world go round. I absolutely love it. So it's a great job, and you get to meet all different people, you get to work with all different people. I love public speaking, so I get to stand up and speak in front of people, but the good thing is it's not about me. It's never about me. It's always about somebody else. It's about the couple, it's about the baby, it's about the person who's died, which is really wonderful because it takes your ego right out of the equation, and it's just you delivering the best ceremony or service you can for whoever it is that you're working for. So I absolutely love it. I could talk about it all day, but I just want to affirm that in terms of being mentally, emotionally, spiritually fulfilling, it really, for me, it ticks every single box and then some. But before you go ahead and jump into any training, there are some considerations to be made. And you will, if you are on any of the social media celebrant group pages, you will see people saying, oh, you have to do all your research, you have to check how many celebrants are in your area, you have to go and talk to funeral directors and see if they think it would be a good idea or if they would use you. You have to talk to crematoriums and get their take on it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things, absolutely, if you feel that that's important to you. But what I'm saying is, I didn't do any of those things. I'm just being honest. So I can't say to you, you have to go out and do them, because I never did them. I was working as a lecturer, but also professional speaking, doing a bit of professional speaking. So I was already very comfortable with standing up and speaking in front of large audiences, and I wasn't a professional speaking all the time. And professional speaking just means that you're getting paid to speak. So I would maybe have 8 gigs a year, which, you know, it's not a career, it's not going to pay your wages, but it was great from the standpoint of being able to stand up and speak and be comfortable speaking to a large group of people. So I did have that advantage. Friends asked me if I could conduct their wedding. I did some research. I thought about becoming a humanist. I actually applied to become a humanist before reading what that actually meant, and then decided no, that did not align with my beliefs. And so I did some independent celebrant training, and then I just went out and started marketing myself. So that's how I did it. So for me to say you have to go out and do your research and you have to talk to funeral directors, I would be a bit of a hypocrite because I didn't do that. But instead, what I would say is be honest with yourself, because becoming a celebrant doesn't mean that you do your training and you go home and all of a sudden your phone's going to start ringing or couples are going to start phoning you up. And I'm trying to talk in general terms here, because wedding celebrancy and funeral celebrancy are two different things altogether, because with funeral celebrancy there is usually always a middleman there, and that's the funeral director. So that's who you're marketing yourself to, the funeral director. Whereas for wedding celebrancy and family celebrancy, you are marketing yourself to the target audience that you're trying to reach, whether it be couples, whether it be parents, whatever. But I'm trying to talk in general terms. So yes, it's not a case of you'll come and do the training with me or anybody else and then all of a sudden your phone will be ringing off the hook. That's not going to happen. You have to go out there and make it happen. What the training will do is give you all the tools and the techniques and build up your confidence to get you to a place so you're at the starting line in your celebrancy career and you have everything you need, but you're the one that has to move forwards with it. And so if I were you, I would be very honest with myself and ask, am I the type of person who, if I say I'm going to do something, then I do it? Or am I the type of person that tends to start something and not see it through to fruition? If that's the case, you have to be honest with yourself. Why is this going to be any different? And if you're saying it's going to be different, well, how's it going to be different? What are you going to do differently? Are you somebody who's comfortable in communicating with other people, and that is on the phone, face to face, and standing up and speaking into groups? And if you're not, be very honest with yourself. You know, if you say to yourself, and I've seen it far too many times, celebrants who do celebrant training, and they will say during that training, at the end of the training, I'm absolutely terrified of public speaking. That's an issue, because using somebody's ceremony, a funeral service, as your training ground for becoming a confident professional speaker is not ideal, because that family, that couple deserve to get the best that they can get from you. So if you're absolutely terrified of speaking in public, then be honest with yourself, is this the right career for you? And if you still want it, how can you develop your public speaking, your professional speaking skills? And there are a number of ways you can do that. On our course, on my course, we look at that, we practice that, we practice it in small group settings, we practice it in front of the group, and I encourage you and give you ideas of where you can go to continue to develop those skills, because it is very important. You don't know, it's unlikely at the start of your celebrancy career that you'll get asked to do a service in front of 500 people or a ceremony in front of 500 people, but you just don't know. It could happen, and you will be expected to hold that space. And if you don't know what I mean by hold that space, I'll talk about that in another video. But what it just means is to be confident and in control of everything that's going on in that room, and through that being able to deliver the type of ceremony or service that the family or the couple. But also, are you somebody who is uncomfortable speaking to others on the phone or approaching people such as funeral directors, or if you're at a wedding fair talking to couples? These are things that need to be considered, because they are important things. Now, I'm not saying that if you're saying to yourself, oh yeah, I'm a bit uncomfortable with speaking to other people on the phone, or that should put you off becoming a celebrant. All I'm saying is, think about it, take ownership of it, and then start to ask yourself, well, what can I do right now, before I even consider any training, to try and improve these skills, so that once you do go and do your training, finish your training, then you're feeling much more comfortable about going out and approaching funeral directors, approaching venues to ask them if they will consider keeping your details as a celebrant, approaching couples, all these different people that are in fact the doorway to your success as a celebrant. So it's thinking about these things, it's taking ownership of these things, so that when you do go and do training, you're starting from a very genuine, authentic place where you know what your weaknesses are, and you have a plan, both with the training, because the training should address all these issues, but afterwards to keep developing these skills, so that you don't do your training, come out your training, and then have absolutely nowhere to go, because that's when you find yourself sitting at home and the phone's not ringing and you're thinking, well, this celebrancy thing doesn't work. It's a two-way thing, and you need to make it work. So those are just a few of the considerations that you should bear in mind when you're thinking of going and doing any celebrant training. So why should you consider coming and doing your training with me, Celebrant Lindy? Well, I think for a number of reasons. First of all, I come from a background in training and development, coaching, lecturing. So I've been a training manager. I've developed and written numerous, I was just going to say far too many training plans and training programs. I've delivered those programs. I'm a professional speaker, so I speak in front of large audiences. The largest funeral I've given to date has been 800, the smallest has been 2. So I know what it's like to hold the space for an intimate service or ceremony, and also for a great big celebration. I have only been a celebrant for 2 years, so I'm not somebody who came into this 20 years ago when there were only a few celebrants in there, for it was much easier to get a foot in the door. I came into this at a time when there are lots of celebrants, and had to find ways to make sure I was going to be successful. My independent celebrant training, how can I say this carefully? I don't think it gave me all the tools and techniques that I needed. It could have been much fuller. It could have covered a lot more ground. And so there was lots I had to work out as I went, and you're going to get the benefit of that. So I have filled in all those gaps in the training to make sure that we are covering all aspects of what need to be covered. Also, I'm quite a fun person, and I think training should be fun. It shouldn't be just morning to night of just boring listening to me talking. So the training has been developed in a way that it is largely experiential, which means you will be practicing a lot of the stuff that we talk about. We will talk a wee bit about the theory, but there will be lots of practice so that you can be trying it out for yourself, if you like. But also ongoing support. There will be there is a Celebrant Training Scotland Facebook page. There's a general one, but then there's one that's just for students, just for people that have come through the training, where there will be not only videos and resources to help you as you continue in your career, but also chances to come back and do some CPD, continuous professional development training, so that we are always honing our skills. There will also be the opportunity to have supervision, not by me because I'm not a trained supervisor, but there will be those resources there, because professional supervision is also important. It's a great resource for celebrants to have somewhere to go to talk about their work and maybe what's not working and how they can get better and things like that. So there will be so many different aspects to the training, but everything will be parcelled together in a way that it will walk you through what it's like to be a funeral celebrant, or walk you through what it's like to be a wedding celebrant, and all the tools and techniques and all the resources and the forms and questionnaires and everything that you need, that you can take away and you can begin to adapt to your own style, so that you can, once the training's finished, you can say, right, what next? Who am I going to call? So that you can get that first gig. So if you are considering training, another thing I should say is you should look at all different training providers. You know, I'm up here in Bonnie, Scotland. If you're down south, I would look at, you know, first of all, the Institute of Professional Celebrants. Stuart Morris runs that. Stuart and I trained together. And so I'd maybe have a look at that rather than coming all the way up to Scotland, because that's a very comprehensive course, accredited course. So I'd have a look at that. My training does offer the option to upgrade to an accreditation, and that's very kindly been offered through the Institute of Professional Celebrants. So I'd have a look at them if you're down south. I'd have a look at them anyway, and any other training providers that you are drawn to, and contact them, ask them to phone you, or you phone them, have a chat, have a list of questions, queries, anything you want to ask, and those questions and queries should be answered in a way that leaves you thinking, this is the right training provider for me. So if you have any questions or queries, then please drop me an email at lindy@celebranttrainingscotland.co.uk, or you can give me a call on 07800 950 647. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope I get to see you in the classroom very soon.